This is TWiT.
All right, Adam, you've been busy. You've been busy, haven't you? You've actually been playing around with the Nord N20 5G. This came out not too long ago, very recently, a couple of weeks ago. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, yeah, this is the OnePlus Nord N20. I'm trying to angle it so you can see it without all my headphones in the background. But anyway.
And the zoom blurring happening.
Here, you know what? I'll just show you the back of it, because the back of it is really the title of this review. This is a gorgeous phone that OnePlus made that is super thin, 7.5 millimeters thin, and you don't often see that in a mid-range phone. This is exclusive to T-Mobile, which is unfortunate, but hey, I'm a T-Mobile subscriber, so I guess it works for me.
Works for you.
This is has a 60 hertz AMOLED screen, which is a step up and a step down at the same time, because I believe the Nord was at the N200, had an LCD panel, but it was a 90 hertz LCD panel. It is a long-standing tradition on my podcast, Benefit of a Doud, that I do not see the difference between 60 hertz and 120 hertz, so that will never bother me, but it might bother you, and that's okay.
How do you not see? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. How do you not see the difference?
I don't see the difference. I have never seen – the only phone that I have ever seen the difference on was the OnePlus 9 Pro and the OnePlus 10 Pro. Those are the only ones that I ever see like, oh, yeah, this is smooth. I don't see it. I've had a dozen other 120 hertz displays since then, and nothing.
Your internal frame rate down reses you to 60 hertz. So even if it's 120 hertz, you see 60 hertz. It doesn't matter, you know?
See, it's important for you to know I'm old. Anyway,
aren't we all?
So,
except for
from
when
a hardware,
I'm old.
Okay, fair enough. We're all old. That's great. Get off my lawn. So from a hardware perspective, this is a very solid phone, and T-Mobile has it for 24 payments of 11 whatever. It's $282 all said and done, which is very not bad for this particular space. On the back, we have two very prominent lenses. We have a 64 megapixel main sensor, and then we have a 2 megapixel macro sensor. And then over here, there's a little 2 megapixel monochrome camera. Spoiler alert, this weekend we'll be talking about this phone on my podcast with Miriam Jouar, and she calls these sticker cams, and that is a very apt description. So
sticker cams, like these cameras are there because that it's on the specs list that they're there, but they aren't as good. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Basically, so they can say triple camera setup instead of single camera that you give a crap setup.
Yeah.
So there is a USB port on the bottom. There is a headphone jack, which I'll be honest, I was a week into my review before I even noticed that the headphone jack was there. I'm just at
this point you just don't even notice anymore.
I don't even notice anymore. And well, I don't notice 120 hertz displays either. So what am I? I'm just a moron. Anyway, up for debate. Anyway, so the internal specifications. This is running a Snapdragon 695 with, I believe, a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, 128 gigabytes of base storage, and 6 gigabytes of RAM. So all told, pretty decent specs for a mid-range phone. The experience, like navigating between apps, is not as smooth as I would have come to expect from a company that, you know, really pimps the fast and smooth philosophy. But I mean, there were more stutters than I'm typically used to, but I usually review flagships, so I guess that's just on me. The main reason why I was excited to review the OnePlus Nord is because this is the first OnePlus Nord I have ever had the chance to use, and so I was really excited to learn about the space. You know, the OnePlus Nord space, because there's a lot of different OnePlus Nord variants. And so I wanted to kind of get a sense as to what the mid-range OnePlus crowd was doing these days. Overall, I'd say if I had to put a number on it, I did not put a number on it on my review, but I'd say this is sitting at a solid 6.5, 7, somewhere around there. It's good value for the money. So if you're in the $300 budget space, this is a pretty good option to consider. That being said, there are probably better ways that you could spend your money if you decided to pony up a little bit extra and go with, like a Pixel 5a or something like that. That would probably be, or a Pixel 6a, which might be coming next week. But overall, yeah, it's a fun little phone. It's, the title of my review is OnePlus Settled, because I felt like there were a couple of corners that didn't necessarily have to be cut, but overall, it's pretty good value for the money.
Yeah, I think that's a sentiment. The OnePlus Settled is a sentiment that I feel like we're hearing that more and more with their phones as of late. And I don't know if it's a saturation, because it used to be that OnePlus was very, selective, or I don't know if it was even selective. They just, they were a new company, so they weren't releasing 20 different designs every single year or anything. But now the company, especially in the last couple of years, has really kind of turned into all right, let's go all out with this brand. Let's get it into carrier stores. Let's, represent all different price categories. And, I think for the people who are the traditional OnePlus fans, the luster is off. It's lost a little bit, and it's becoming more of just like another brand of phone that you find in a carrier store. Do you feel that way about this device or about OnePlus in general? Or how do you
would
feel
say, yeah, OnePlus in general, especially when it comes to the Nord series, it kind of feels like it's a little bit lost. Like it's kind of, I don't want to say like total spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks, but it just seems like OnePlus Nord is kind of trying to still find its identity a little bit. OnePlus has moved on from the flagship killers, which, ironically, the OnePlus One was priced at the same tier, basically.
That's
it was
an
$299.
interesting comparison. Yeah, that's true. Right.
And back then, that was the top of the line processor. I don't remember what it was back then, but it was, it was the best processor you could get. And I want to say that the internal storage was pretty decent. RAM was pretty decent. And really the only thing that you had to compromise on was a 1080p panel and a crappy camera. And,
3 gigs of RAM.
Was it 3 gigs? Okay.
16 gigs of storage on their base model.
Oh my God, really?
Woo!
Wow.
Snapdragon
Open
801.
mouth, insert foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but you know what? This was a really long time ago. I can't remember when this phone came out, but, we're talking almost Google Glass length of time. Probably 8 years would be my guess. 8-ish years. And at the time, $1,000 flagships didn't exist. That was not a normal thing. They are now. And so those prices have all crept up. The mid-range is now what, kind of the premium, some of the premium phones even used to be, as far as price is concerned. So the market has just changed.
And the thing that OnePlus has going for it is that the U.S. market is terrible when it comes to phones. You have Motorola, you have OnePlus, and that's about it in the mid-range space. LG's not here anymore. TCL has a couple of offerings, but I would say this probably outshines any TCL offering from this year. So, really, there's not a lot of choice, especially in the budget segment. So I think OnePlus will probably capitalize on that. OnePlus also did say that this will be coming as an unlocked version later on in the year, air quotes, later this year. So we'll see when that comes around. But it's a T-Mobile exclusive right now. And by the way, OnePlus.com does not sell the OnePlus N20, the OnePlus Nord N20 5G. It's only a T-Mobile.
Yeah.
So, which was, I don't know. I found a little laughable, but okay. I
will also say, when the original, the one that they didn't release here, or one of the Nords that they didn't release here, the very first one that had that light blue,
is that
really
the CE?
Pretty. It was just called the OnePlus Nord, and it was released overseas. Oh, okay. And, I was able to review that, and I loved that device. I was like, holy cow, this is for value and the quality of materials and everything. It was great compromise all around. The compromises they made were great. It didn't sacrifice the quality of the phone. And then there was the N100 that came out, and it had kind of it had cheaper build quality, plastic bag, definitely a step down in cameras. And that was kind of the first phone from OnePlus where I was like, yeah, okay, I see what you're trying to do here. You're really trying to appeal to this lower price category, and you got to cut corners in order to do that. But it's kind of losing the OnePlus magic along the way, as at the same time. So I don't know. It's interesting to see them kind of straddle those lines.
One last note that amuses me to no end about this phone: when we were briefed on the OnePlus 10 Pro this year, OnePlus went out of its way to point out how the fingerprint sensor on the OnePlus 10 Pro got moved up because people found it awkward to try to scan their fingerprint when it was that low on the thing. And on the OnePlus Nord, right back down on the bottom there.
Oh, it is. So. Okay, there you go. There you go. It is strange to have it that low. But, I mean, at the same time, those kind of things, like, it's weird if you're a reviewer and you're playing with a million different phones and you see where a lot of them are putting those things. But if you're an owner, like, you get really used to it. Like, at a certain point, it's just kind of the way that phone is. It's not the end of the world. But interesting. All right, so everybody should go over to digitaltrends.com and seek out Adam's full review of the OnePlus Nord N20 5G. Check it out, and all of his other work there as well.